I think it's working there. So I'm assuming that my screen sharing is working fine. So hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Welcome. It is June 25th. This is the third last session that I have available here. And so what I'm going to try and do is over the next sessions is try and pick out like the gems of over the years of stuff that I do and some of my processes that I work on, as you know, that I don't even think about anymore, just so you guys have some stuff that you can you know, take with you and go, okay, this works really well, or this, you know, these are some cool shortcuts and stuff. So I'm going to start off with a couple of my favorite Chrome extensions, and the first one is Go Incognito. So one of the things that when I'm working on files a lot, I always have to make sure that I'm testing. Oh, there's that page. Let's get rid of that. I have to make sure that the sharing is set up properly, right? And so the easiest way to do that is if you copy this stuff and you go in here and you open up an incognito window or a private window. So you open up Incognito. This is basically a window that's not logged into any account. And when I go and paste a document in there, I can see that the sharing is set up so that external people can't see this document. And that's great. And as I work on websites or documents or whatever else, this is really handy using Incognito for that. Go Incognito is an extension, or sorry, an add-on for Chrome. And what it basically does is it says, I'm going to take this URL, I'm going to go and open up a new incognito window, and I'm going to paste it in. So I don't actually have to do copy, paste, open, blah, blah, blah. I just click on this link, automatically opens it up, automatically pastes it in, automatically hits enter. And there I can quickly see, do I have sharing set up properly so that external people can see this document. I can also do, you know, I'll take a look at this one here because I don't care if anyone sees this. So this is open to the public. So I'm just going to click on that and it'll come up and it'll show me that, yes, external users can get in. Notice the sign in there because, as I mentioned before, there is no account already set up. So it's like having a brand new, clean, nothing signed in browser that you can play with. And I use that all the time. It is probably one of my most used extensions that I use. Another cool one I like to have is called Remote for Slides. And basically what happens is it's an extension that allows you to use your mobile device as a remote for this piece. So just give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna, I need to show you both screens at the same time. So I'm gonna have to just try and log in and see if I can get my new movie and get my phone showing up here. Just 1 second here. There we are. And you should be able to see my phone right away. Yep, there we are. So here's my phone. I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to hide everything else for a second. Go away. I'll watch you later. Go away. So here is the presentation. This other side here is my screen. When I click, oh, hang on, I'll just close that off. Disconnect. There we go. When I go here to hit present with remote, what this does is open up a new tab and you'll see this little arrow here. Now over here, this is my iPhone now. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to start remote. It's going to give me a number 905598. So I have to take this number here and I'm going to add it over into this side. So I'm on my phone now. 90. What did I say? I'll show it again. 905598. So this is actually just a web page. This is not a, well, actually, no, I lied. This is a Remote for Slides is an app. But watch what happens here. It's going to connect in a second. It's connecting. It was just working seconds ago. Let's try this again. Refresh the code. 902 924 924 056. All right, try that. Oh, let me restart that again, that app. Show it. 92. This gets exciting when it works. There we go. So here's my phone on the right-hand side. I am now in charge of the presentation using my phone. So this is great when you're in person. This is even handy when you're doing virtual, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I can now walk around the whole room and I can just go to the next slide, By clicking the button, it's going to move it on. If I know what I'm going to be talking about, that's great. If I don't, in the top right-hand corner here, I can see all my notes for the slides. So in here, there's slide deck, there's Trevor's notes. So I can actually be talking, reading off of my phone as I go through. So this could be up on a slide deck, could be up on the podium or what have you. And I can go through and it looks like I actually know what I'm talking about. So it allows you to control the Google Slides from your phone. The best part, though, is that it will work over your data of your phone. So you don't have to be on a Wi-Fi network. So I used to do presentations. I'd go down to different schools and stuff, and I'd be doing these Google presentations, and the Wi-Fi there would suck because everyone's trying to get on it, and these smaller schools just don't have the Wi-Fi infrastructure like we do at the university that we take advantage of it. So I would just actually load this up directly on my phone using my mobile data. So I can control this anywhere from in the world that I want. What's also handy is, let's say that I'm doing this presentation and I want to focus just on talking on the presentation or something else. I can give that number that you saw there to Dave. Dave could be in his office. Dave could actually be sitting there moving my slides for me. So he can actually take control of it. Now, I mean, Dave could also present on his screen as well, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. But depending where you're at, if I was, let's say, again, on a podium and we're using my computer, maybe I don't want to spend any time doing this. So Dave's going to go ahead and move it forward. So it's a nice little app if you're doing a lot of presentations. I love Google for that kind of stuff, and it just makes it a lot easier. One of the things that you'll hear people talk about is when they're using these browser-based presentation tools, whether it's Google Slides, whether it's PowerPoint, Prezi, or whatever, the problem is you only get one screen. Whereas when you're using Outlook on the desktop, the app actually is set up to use 2 different screens and stuff like that. So if you only have one screen, it really makes it easier. If you have, because the one screen will be here on the tablet or the laptop, the other screen is going to be the projector. That's great if you've got the desktop app. Unfortunately, Google Sheets doesn't do that. Prezi doesn't do that. So this is just a nice way of getting around that. Google Groups. Google Groups is the unsung hero of the Google suite of apps. Google Groups is basically, oh, actually I can stop. I don't need to share this anymore, so we'll get rid of that. Go away. Thank you. Google Groups basically is like a listserv or a mail serve, okay? So I can create a group, I can add stuff in there, and I can add contacts in there. And the nice thing about it is, so I've got one here called MSA Communications Committee that I used to be on. And in there, any messages that get sent to that email address that you saw goes to Google first, then Google sends it out to everyone else. Later on, someone will reply. The reply comes back to Google. Google puts it in here, then sends it off. And you can see here are all these different messages. And if there were responses and stuff, they would be embedded and indented just like you would normally see. The nice thing about this is that if I'm on a committee and we're doing communication and stuff, and let's say that I'm the secretary, I don't actually have to keep track of all the emails because Google's doing that for me, because everything's going to Google first and it's making a copy of this. So when I work with some nonprofits and other areas and they're having this communication, I always say, use the Google group. That way, it doesn't matter when, as people leave, someone else new comes in, it's all in the same location. You get access to it. So that's kind of cool. The other thing that's really super cool, though, is that if I have a membership or a members list of this piece here, I can use the email that's referenced for this as a shared email. So let's say there are 10 people on this list, or let's say there's 100 people. So I've got 100 people in this Google group. What I can do then is, go away, people. Not you people. I meant these things here. Go away. You know, one of these days the Apple will talk properly and I'll stop seeing stuff pop up on my screen. So with Google Groups, the nice thing is, instead of sharing this individually with 100 people, I could create a group and then share it that way. So I'm going to go into this document here and I'm going to add that 100 people. Well, I'm not going to add 100 people to this list, but if I start typing in MSA, there's MSA Communications, that now becomes the share. So I'm sharing it with that group. Google then says there's these 100 people that are in the group, bang, they get access to this file. This is really important when you think of things like shared drives. When you've got a lot of people in there, I'm doing some work at McEwen and for some of the nonprofits where they've got a board of governors or a board, whatever their board is, and board of directors. And so what we'll do is we'll have a Google group called Board of Directors, and then we will share everything with that email. The best part is 2 years from now or a year from now, the president leaves, I go in, I change the name, I add a new person into that group. That person now automatically gets access to everything that's been shared with MSA at Communications or whatever the Google group is. So it's really powerful for group management because you do all the sharing out to the groups, to the group. So some of those files and folders, they might have view access, some they might have comment access, some they might have full-on editing access. But just by managing that Google group in one location, I can choose what people are added to the group and what resources they have access to. Takes a little planning, but it's a really, really great function. Let me see something in the chat here, so let me just take a quick look. Does this jive with Outlook contacts? No, Google Groups is separate. It's Google, right? Totally separate. Google, Microsoft, English, French, Klingon, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's totally separate. So there's nothing syncing back there. One thing I will warn you about, though, is if you go in here under groups here, you can create your own group. Now, the problem with that is, so if I create this group, if I go and create a group, it's going to create it with Google. So you're going to have this email address. Oh, they've locked it down here. Okay, they've changed that. Good. No, I'm sure there's another way. Okay, give me a second here. If I go all groups, nope, I guess they did lock it down. Good, that's a nice change. In other cases, let me just talk about it then. If I go and create Google Group, it will be an email that says something to the effect of Trevor's Group at mygooglegroups.com. If it has mygooglegroups.com as part of the email address, that means Google is managing it. So if whoever is the owner of that group leaves, you have to try and talk to Google to get them to reassign the password or the account to you, which could be either never or very long time, because you're talking about Google, who's answering a whole whack of other things. We here at McEwen have what's called Google Groups for Business, and other nonprofits that are using Google and other businesses that are using Google also have it. And when that gets when you get created with that, it's using the domain that's associated with the Google Groups. In this case, it's MyMcEwen. So automatically, it's going to have Trevor's Group at mymcEwen.ca. If it has that, that means that the domain and all the admin stuff belongs to the organization. So whoever the administrator is, so Wamik is the administrator for our Google stuff, if something happened, he could easily go in there because he's got the keys for all of our groups. They've set it up so that we at McEwen can't create these groups. You do have to just put a request in. Easy to do. It's there's a form in the Help Center to submit that request. But once you've done that, now you've got this tool that's good for sending out emails. It's good for sharing. It's good for doing all sorts of stuff. So like I said, it's really is truly the unheard or unknown hero of the Google Groups, Google suite of stuff. Huh, that was a big one. No more questions? Okay. Insert text from one Word document into another. I think I demonstrated this before, but if not, it's in, did I put it in the Help Center? I can't remember now, but it is in Stream, so I'll double check and make sure it's in the Help Center. But basically, oh, I know what I did. I put it on my website. That's where it is, because that makes sense. But what it does is you can take the text from one Word document and bring it into another. So I did a video on this. What's really cool about this is that, so I've got two documents. So I'm working with Dave Cato there right now on course descriptions. So a full course description is going to have a page where the faculty member is going to have contact information, and then a section that the program puts in there about, requirements and all that kind of stuff that shouldn't be touched by the instructor. But the problem is he's got 100 of these courses. So you're going to be doing copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste all the way throughout. What the link text from one doc to the other does is it says, okay, here's this document that's got one page of stuff. I'm going to put a link that goes to that document. Whatever text is in there, bring it in. So now this text here flows into there, and it's the link is alive, but it doesn't automatically update because, I mean, it's a Word document. You probably don't want that. But anytime you're ready, so like the next year comes by, you make a change in that one document, all you have to do is hit the refresh button. It automatically goes, grabs that data, brings it back in. So if you've got documents like that where there's sections that are all the same on these 30 documents, I really, really strongly suggest you take a look at how to link the text from one to another, because it just makes it easier. You right click and bang, you know that when you copy and paste, the real stuff's going in there. I mean, we've all done that where we've pasted something in and it goes, well, that's not what I pasted in, or it's missing half the stuff that I was supposed to paste in. So I've demonstrated before, but there's a video there for you guys to take a look through. Really, really can't recommend enough that you take a look at that. Capitalization in Microsoft Word. Oh, this is a fun one. I was working on a document the other day, and there's all this capitalization stuff. And when we do our heading 1, heading 2, and that kind of stuff, we typically don't want to do that. That's our style that we have at McEwen. So I want to do a sentence cap. So that would mean I have to go through and retype all this stuff. But if you throw it in Word, and I'm using the web version, but there's this same icon here. Whoops. Where is that in there? Give me a second. Yeah, that move. Try it again. There's the one here. It looks like a big A and a little a. It says change case. Here's all the different options you have. You can just capitalize each word. You can lowercase everything. You can do a sentence case. So watch this. There it is. I can actually go through this whole thing here, highlight all of it, select this, and I'm going to go and do lowercase. Cool. No, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to do a sentence or word case. How exciting is that? Just watch Trevor change the stuff. But the nice thing about this is you just have to select it and it's smart enough to do it. Now, I'm going to show you a really cool trick. I'm going to open this up in the desktop app. There's a little key command trick that's not working on the web, at least not for me right now. But if you're all familiar with undo, but there's a command called redo, which basically means whatever you just did, I'm going to redo it again and keep doing it again. So watch this. Once this comes up, I'm going to select this piece here. Wait, come on, keep drawing. Are you ready? Are you done? Okay. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to highlight this sentence. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to make this sentence case. Come on, do it. Yes, you can. There you are. Sentence case. And remember I said, whoops, up here in the edit function, there's undo, and then there's redo or repeat, depending on what you're looking at, is Command Y. Now watch this. I'm going to go through here. I'm just going to select that and do Command Y. Select this, go do Command Y. So it's a way that you can quickly go through your documents. And because I already did it once, I just do Command Y, Command Y, Command Y, and just keep repeating it wherever it needs to be done. So it allows you to format that stuff a lot faster. And I love this function. I mean, even when I was doing websites and stuff, I would paste stuff in Word, come in, clean it up, and that's one of the functions I would use was sentence case, and then I can just copy and paste it back out. No questions on any of that? Cool. Last thing I thought I would show you my process for putting up these videos and stuff. And this is great if you've got videos that you're putting up on YouTube or Stream or whatever. So I basically have created a folder here, and I'm just going to write. So the folder's got a bunch of different websites that I'm going to need to hit and do stuff with. So I'm just going to go and open all 7 of these in a new window. And I'm just going to take this and move it to a different screen just so I can have it to itself. All right, so there's my drop-in Thursday. So the first thing that happens is when we're done talking about done the video, it gets uploaded to SharePoint, and it's going to be in a specific folder. So whenever you're using SharePoint or OneDrive or any of those things, they're just fancy web pages, which means I can throw a URL in there and grab that information really quick. So by default, the recordings for all of the meetings for general go into this recordings folder. And that's where I've got my data here. Now, typically the name is called Technology Drop-in Thursdays, Winter/Spring. So when this first thing I do is I come in here and I'll rename the most recent file. Once I've renamed it, I will download it to my computer. The next thing I will do is put a splash screen on so that when you're looking at this in YouTube, it's not going to be whatever screen that got captured at one of, in the video. As you'll see, it often will just grab whatever it sees, but it's actually going to have a designed splash. I call it a splash screen, that first screen. So I've got, and to do that, the dimensions are really easy. Just go into PowerPoint or Google Slides, do 16 by 9, and whatever you design here will perfectly fit for that page. So we'll come to that in a second here. So I would go in and I make changes, whatever, depending on what kind of video I'm uploading. I'm going to either use this one here, or I'm going to use this one here. I could have, my face on it or whatever. So you can do all sorts of stuff. And then I'm going to go and upload those. So there I've got the drop-ins. See how I've got all the different screens here? Like I've got the black here, or I've got the laptop here. Rather than just grabbing whatever image it decides to grab, I'm deciding what's going to be displayed. And so any of my drop-ins will have the laptop. Anything that's not a drop-in will have just a black screen. So I'm already categorizing stuff just by the graphic. You can quickly look through and go, I don't need to pay attention to those because those are just drop-ins. They're specifically talking about an item. So then I'm just going to copy this upload it. And then once you upload it, one of the suggestions says, well, let's go ahead and do it. What the heck? Let me just find something real quick here. Delete it at will. I got to find a video. Okay, sure. I'm going to do my, oh, that's too big. Where'd it go? I usually have something. There we are. So there's a tech one. So I'm just going to throw this in here, drag it into there. So it's starting to upload. I put in my information here. That thumbnail we were talking about, that's just what we're talking about right now. I would go and put a plus sign there. And that allows me to upload my chosen thumbnail, which is that slide. In Stream, I also have to go in and make sure that everyone at McEwen can see it. And then I can upload whatever options I want. Then I go ahead and I hit publish, and Bob's your uncle, it's up there. I'm going to come back to that in a second. YouTube, same thing. I click and drag the file, upload it. I go through the same screens that we have there before. And I also go into it and throw that splash screen on it, the thumbnail. One of the differences when I upload a YouTube video, so let's go ahead and do that as well. When I upload the YouTube video, during this process, I can choose what playlist it's going to go into. All right. Here, what happens, the way Stream sets up is, and Stream's a little bit different. In Stream, I have to have a group first. So in this case, a team, which is what you guys are. And then I create what's called a channel. The channel is the playlist. And the nice thing about the way Stream is set up is when I have that URL of that channel, I am uploading to that channel. So I'm uploading to that playlist automatically. I don't have to choose that as an option. It just automatically uploads. So, and you're looking at your processes, whatever they are, take a look. If there's a URL that you're opening, like a new tab or something like that, put it in a folder so that when you're ready, you open it, all new of them, bang, all the links are in place. You're ready to upload, move things around, whatever it is you need to do, everything's in place. And then finally, the last step is I'm going to post a link to it. So I go into my SharePoint site, and these are using the news, and I'm going to hit news link because it's not a post that I'm writing in the website. I'm pointing to someone else's content. And in there, I just put in the news link, I put in URL, and I post it. SharePoint has a function, and I've talked about it in the past, and you can check the SharePoint videos in the past, but SharePoint has a function for Teams that says any news that gets posted to this SharePoint site associated with the team, so our team called Trevor's Tech Tips, anytime a news item gets posted here, automatically posted into Teams. So I'm not going in and copy paste all this information and grab the URL and stuff like that. Anytime that we look at stuff in our team that shows up under here that looks anything like this, these are all posts, and I didn't have to do it. It's done automatically just because of the way I set it up. So I don't know how helpful that is for you guys, but one of the things that I really stress is that if there's a process you have where you're opening up 4 or 5 tabs or something like that, put them in a folder. And then that way, when you start this process, you just right click, open it up, and Bob's your uncle, you're off and running. Oh, that was a long one. Any questions on anything I covered today? We went a little bit over, sorry. Okay, I'm just going to stop the recording there. And then if you have any questions, we can chat more about those specifically.